Twins left. Check zone. Check zone. All right, we're going to get Brown. 570. Wide curl on 2.
4-3 snap, slant strong. Open cannon, Mike Pop.
Hello and welcome to In the Huddle. I'm your host, JT Thomas, broadcasting live from Saberton Station. We're here every Wednesday from 6 to 7. If you don't catch us here, make sure you check us out at thedpost.com. Again, that's at thedpost.com. Joining me, former Mountaineer, 1987 to 1991, Alex Shook. My good friend, Avery Big Tone Richardson, 1991 to 1992. And gentlemen, let's prepare to break the huddle.
Let's do it.
We're back at it again.
Absolutely.
I mean, the good side of this is the fourth week that we've won a game. Back to back, feel real
streak.
good.
We're on a streak.
We're on a streak.
Keep it going. Let's keep it
against
going.
Iowa State. I know last week when we were here, we talked about the up and coming team and the fact that their coach was being fired. That we felt like they were going to come in with some sort of chip on their shoulder where they wanted to save their coach's job. Mm-hmm. Well, Alex, that just didn't happen.
Knocked it right off their shoulder.
Right.
As I mentioned last week, Paul Rhodes, he was a defensive coach at Pitt when they come in and beat us in 2007 and knocked us out of a shot at the national championship that year. So, and he's supposed to be a great gentleman and all that, but I was glad to send him out at Morgantown with a loss this time. We didn't need him being happy after this game. So it was a good win, a win that we should have had. We're better than that team. I sat down on the, I usually sit up right under the first level, under the overhang, and I had some friends' seats, was right at the 50-yard line on the visitor side, right behind Iowa State. Mm-hmm. And we're a bigger, better team than Iowa State. I mean, I looked at them and just, it didn't look like a Division I football team. They had some big linemen, but just, overall, there wasn't a lot of guys out there that I'd be scared running into in an alley or anything like that. They looked small, and I think played that way on the field as well. We handled them.
Right. Needless to say, that Iowa State has some maturing to do in terms of getting more athletes out there. We seem to be overmatched in terms of having more athletes. I mean, Tone, we just all around seem to have dominated that team from the beginning to end.
Sure.
When I say beginning to end, the game was a good game. I mean, we started off in the first half. We scored slow, but yet we still was able to score. Okay. And I was really excited to see Gibson score. 60-yard catch. On the sideline, I wish Gary Thompson was here because Gary hates those
Tompkins.
Tompkins. Yes. Yeah. Gary Tompkins. Gary got on me last week about mispronouncing his last name. But last week, pretty often all through the season, we've been talking about that screen pass. Okay. But Gibson, I mean, he just did his thing. He caught the pass and he streaked down the field like it's something that he's used to doing, Tom.
Well, I'll tell you what, JT, we had an APB out on him because we didn't know where he was at. we didn't know where that young man was at for a while. So it was good to see him get involved in the offense because he's a big threat. He's a big threat type of guy. But overall, watching that game on Saturday, the energy level just wasn't there for me. It was a rainy day. I watched some of it on TV. Then I was able to get down there at halftime and watch the rest of the game. But it was a dreary game. It was a rainy game. The energy was low. The student body wasn't there. The student section wasn't there. They was away for Thanksgiving. So, you know what? When you're a good team and you're better than the opposition, you take care of business. Right. And I think that's what we did. We took care of business against Iowa State. As Alex said, the coach got fired and all that stuff. You thought he was going to come in there with some motivation. But I didn't see that. I saw a team. I'm not going to say they quit because I wouldn't want to say that about a team. But I just thought we took care of business and we played Mountaineer football. So I was very happy about a 36 win and your defense played as good as they do. I'll take that every time.
And that's what I wanted to talk about. Guys, I just thought our defense played exceptionally well. They kept our team in the game all game long. Guys like Chestnut and Worley on the outside played outstanding. I think they both just dominated their man on the outside. And Worley came up with a pick. I mean, I think right now he's ranked in the top second, number 2. Yeah, he has number 2 in the Big 12 right now in interceptions. And I have to say, I was on the sideline and I was able to firsthand watch Carl Joseph catch his 6th interception.
I saw that too. Yeah.
Although, and what happened, fans, Carl was on the sideline and the quarterback threw an incomplete pass, and Carl, with one hand, caught a pass on the sideline. I just chuckled when I saw that because it was senior night, and Carl found a way to get in that game. So nice catch, Carl, and look forward to you doing bigger and better things. But guys, let's get back to that Mountaineer defense. Defense is just all over the field, Alex. I mean, Kwiatkowski, I thought he played an outstanding game. Been giving Jared Barber some a little thrashing every now and again throughout the weeks, but he played pretty solid this past week.
I thought the whole defense played well. It's good to see the cornerbacks. Worley seems to have got his feet under him after having some difficult times against those big teams we were playing that had the fantastic passing game. So it was nice to see him play well, get an interception. We're going to need Chestnut and Worley for the upcoming game and the bowl game, and of course Worley's got another year, but Kyle Rose also was a standout in the middle that he's shown he can't be blocked one-on-one. He's pretty much unblockable in a one-on-one situation. They have to double team him, and that frees up the linebackers to be able to come in for Barber and Kwiatkowski when they got Kyle Rose plugging up the middle there.
That is so big. I know you guys who are student of the games, you kind of know it. Whenever a lineman can take up two players, that just gives an outside linebacker, a middle linebacker, just an extra lane to run through, knowing that he can get upfield and challenge the quarterback. Whenever we have that, we feel much better. I mean, you're a guy, Tony, you talk about having sacks. You want pressure on the quarterback. We got that,
We did.
Noble just did a great job of making sacks, getting upfield, doing what D linemen do. And in 3-3-5, typically we don't see them getting many sacks.
Correct.
But our guys been bringing it on this last couple of weeks. What do you say, Tom?
Well, you know what? I think I got to take my hat off to Tony Gibson. I mean, we was tough on Tony Gibson on that 4-game slide. I think we didn't think our defense was getting on. But the last couple of games, I've seen our defense really improve. One, by the pass rush. And I'm a pass rush guy. You got to be able to get to the quarterback. The quarterback that they had out there at Iowa State was a young guy. He was a young man. I believe he was a true freshman or a redshirt freshman. I think we did some things on the back end that made him hold the ball a little bit longer than he wanted to. And then our front three was able to get to him. So I think one of the things is getting used to a lot of these guys. I think when I look at some of these tackles, you got to get used to getting off your block and rushing the quarterback. And I think that takes time. And I think now they're hitting their stride right about now. I think they're used to double teams. They know how to get off their blocks. And they're getting after the quarterback. So it was a pleasant surprise to see how many quarterback sacks that we had. So I was happy to see that. I was also happy to see how well the DBs played. Because you and I and Alex, when I first came out here, we talked hard about the DBs. They wasn't playing very well. But altogether, KJ Dillon played very well. I thought he played very well on that back end. Chestnut again, Worley played very well. So I think right now, West Virginia, to me, is a dangerous team. I think they're a dangerous team. I think right now, if we could do it all over again, I don't know if we might want to play us. Now, I know we're gonna look at some different things as the show moves on, but I like where we're standing. I like where this team is going. And I have to take my hat off to Coach Holgerson and say, you know what, congratulations, and let's keep this thing going.
Tony, I was really surprised and really thankful guys like Ricky Rump, who's also a senior, was able to go out and play very well his senior year. He goes out and helped as a supporting cast member when we lose Carl Joseph. And even when we lost the number 16.
Chestnut.
When we lost Chestnut for a while, Ricky Rump was able to fill in. And then obviously.
Did you play against his dad? Because his dad was a University of Miami guy.
No, I don't remember.
Rump was pretty good.
Yeah, and he and as well as Jared Harper. Jared Harper comes in and does an outstanding job for Carl Joseph. I mean, you got to think about where this guy comes from. You got a guy like Carl Joseph who is going to play week in and week out, and then obviously a couple games into the season, you got to transition to get right back in there and be able to pick up where you left off. Probably started off slow, Alex, but I thought Jared Harper's done a great job thus far.
And we're going to be glad next year that, obviously losing Carl Joseph was a tremendous blow this year, but we're going to be glad for the experience that Jared Harper got this year. He's going to be one of the team leaders next year in that secondary, and we're losing. Boy, it was kind of scary looking.
Yeah,
senior night, all the guys that were losing on defense was Barber and Shaq Petaway and Kyle Rose and Joseph and KJ Dillon. I mean, all those guys, Chestnut, huge contributors on that team. So we're going to have some young guys step up and play. Some guys we really haven't seen that much, especially the linebacking core is going to be completely reworked. I mean, you had Shaq, Barber, and Kwiatkowski are all going to be gone next year. So we're going to be seeing some brand new guys at linebacker, and Jared Harper will have a good experience coming in the back end. Tyler's come in and played some. Worley's going to be back, thank goodness, but Rump's gone as well as a backup. So we're going to have a whole lot of new faces on that defense next year. Hopefully we don't regress as a result of that.
Right, the difference is I think that what makes that 3-3-5 a little bit different because people are moving all the time. And I think that kind of gives us an advantage in the Big 12. I think, Tone, we talked about that in terms of how Kansas was going to be able to handle the 3-3-5, even how Texas was going to be able to handle it. And obviously Baylor adjusted pretty well, TCU adjusted pretty well, but for the most part, because we play that different stack type, 3-3 stack type defense, it's going to be a little different. Even though we're going to have new guys, those guys should be always moving. Now, last year when we had one of our guys who played, who was the guy? Daggone it, he was Scott Jerkle. Scott Jerkle talked about how difficult it was for guys to be able to come in and play right away, but yet they were able to do it because people moved all the time. The key to that defense was moving all the time. But with that, we're going to move right on to a trivia question. Okay. So guys, I want to just remind you, we're down here every week, every Wednesday from 6 to 7 here at Saberton Station. If you don't catch us here, make sure you check us out at thedpost.com. And listen, this week I'm going to change my trivia up. I've done the trivia questions all week long. As you know, you get to win something. If you're down here and you hear we do this live, we have something here for you. We got the balls and the koozies. Oh, yeah. You know how you win them, folks. All you got to do is come down here. You can grab one of these koozies. But to do that, you got to answer Alex's question. Alex is going to ask the question today. So all you have to do to be recognized, just raise your hand and we'll bring the mic over to you and you can answer the question.
All right. West Virginia is 1-4 against Kansas State. When was the last time, what year was it that West Virginia beat Kansas State?
We got Old Faithful. Old Faithful is in the
1920.
That's not correct. Which would make it 1930. You got to check your math. Go back and check your math. Carry the one.
That was 2015.
That is
85 all day long.
We finally stumped you.
We stumped out. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our guy. He's won. He's been here every week, and he's won more than 12 cozies. He's had 2 6-packs. Today he probably came in a little drunk, and he missed it.
I was almost afraid to question him. He's never wrong.
He missed it, but no, he does. He's a great guy. He comes down here every week, and he is prepared for our trivia questions. But again, we want to give away something, so we'll let Tone give out a question. Tone, give our audience a question now, a trivia question.
Not a problem. Versus Kansas, we had 3 backs that went over 100 yards. Last time we played Kansas. Can anybody name those 3 backs that went over 100 yards?
All you have to do is raise your hand. We'll get the mic over to you.
I already did the research.
Okay. Do we got anybody else? Anybody else? I'll give you one. One of them was Smallwood. Now you gotta come up with 2.
Recently.
Last game. Last time we played Kansas.
Last game.
Shell and Skylar Howard.
That is correct.
Great job.
All 3 of those guys went over 100 yards. That was outstanding.
See, listen, guys, you're always a winner. All you got to do is come down here and just beat this guy. So, obviously, he's going to add to his collection. He'll get some more cozies. But here's the big task. I mean, he's actually you're 3-1. 3-1 right now. Let's see what you got. There we go. Okay. And he used the, what's the one guy? I'm forgetting my football players. Odell Beckham, one-hand catch deal. Great job. Right. Guys, certainly appreciate you coming down. I just want to remind you to come down here at Saberton Station from 6 to 7. We're down here every Wednesday. And let me just remind you, if you have a question for us, you can send us a question at inthehuddle@thedpost.com. Again, that is inthehuddle@thedpost.com. If we get your question, we may send it. We may read it on live and get and answer the question to the best of our ability. Guys, let's jump right back into this thing. You know, one thing that we've talked about over the last couple of weeks. I don't know if we fumbled a punt this season. I think we've done a good job.
You just jinxed them for sure. Right? Fumble punt in this game. I think we did bobble a couple. Didn't KJ bobble a couple early on?
I believe so, but I think we were able to get it
recovered
back
it.
though. I think we recovered it.
Yeah.
Because that used to be an issue in the past.
Yes.
When they used to punt the ball, you used to hold your breath because it was like, who's going to catch it? I remember we had Thompson back there. We had a lot of different guys. Gibson used to be back there as well. So that's a very good question. But I want to say we bobbled it. We might have fumbled it, but we did record it. We did recover it.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so that's just a heads up to that special teams. I mean, last year, every week we were on here and we just had a tough time having a discussion about our special teams.
Special teams been much improved.
Yes, much improved.
Who's the special team coach? He needs a raise.
Mark Scott, I think, has been the special teams
Mark
coach.
Scott.
I think is his name. And you mentioned Shelton Gibson being absent for a few games, and he wasn't completely absent. He's on the kickoff team. He made a couple tackles. I think that's very impressive to see a wide receiver. It's not like he's a defensive back, be able to go down the field and make tackles. That shows me he's more than just a pretty boy receiver. He's a football player. So, hats off to Shelton Gibson for his performance on the special teams.
I've always said this year in and year out. I'm an old Coach Nealon guy. Coach Nealon used to say special teams are for special guys. So everybody used to want to fight to get on that special team. So you can go down and contribute for your team, and that's what we saw a lot of these guys do. One standout that I saw got hurt earlier, Sean Walters, who had been a standout over the last couple of weeks. I think he got banged up early on, but for the most part, guy after guy after guy's really been stepping up and really making West Virginia football play all three sides of the ball. I think we've been really consistent with that. With Nick O'Toole's been doing a decent job. I know we were on him early on. He may have had a few mishaps, but for the most part, he's been pretty consistent these last couple games. Since we've been winning, he's been pretty consistent.
Pretty consistent. His kickoffs have been okay. We don't have a guy that can really boom it out of the end zone consistently for touchbacks, but he's been pretty consistent. Absent a few little mishaps here and there, he's shanked a couple punts and a couple kickoffs, but otherwise been really pretty solid all around on the special teams, the kicking game.
Tony, let me ask you this here, because as athletes, I want to try to get this across to the fans.
What's that, sir?
We come off a losing streak. We had 4 losses. All right, how difficult would it be to be in that locker room, or how easy it would have been to say, man, the season's over with, man? What does it take for an athlete to say, look, man, we're going to turn this thing around? Tell me what's said in that locker room.
That's a very good point, JT, because those were 4 humiliating losses. I mean, you got to understand that one time, if we go back, we was 3-0, and we was feeling really good about ourselves. And then, we ran into a buzzsaw with some of these teams that we played. I go back with you. We should have won Oklahoma State. We should have beat Oklahoma State. So there again, Oklahoma, it could have went either way. I thought they had more athletes than us. They came away with it. But we didn't come to play, for me, against Baylor and TCU. So that was demoralizing. And that's why I said earlier, I had to take my hat off to Coach Holgerson, because you know what? There was a lot of rumors. There was a lot of rumors, a lot of innuendos about making a coaching change and things of that nature. But he gathered his troops together. They believed in themselves. It was a us versus the world type mentality. They got some things turned around. And, as I'm saying right now, they are playing some good football. I mean, I got to say, man, they are playing good football. And sometimes, we take it for granted. They beat a team, Iowa State, that played very closely with Kansas State and we're bailing them. And we beat them kind of like nonchalantly. And it was 30-6. And that defense didn't give up a touchdown. So, I mean, what can you actually say? I mean, as far as these guys are going in the right direction, if you say trending, they're trending in a positive direction. They're trending up. I'm putting it out here on the line. We're going to beat Kansas State.
I think that's going to tell the tale of this season.
We're going to beat Kansas State.
So,
I'm going to say it right now, Alex, and I'm going to bet you a koozie or what you going to say. We're going to go here and we're going to get Snyder, because Snyder has our number. And it's time for us to get him now. Let me say this. Kansas State's a great program. Well-coached team, well-disciplined team. I like this guy, Snyder. But it's time for us, if we want to make this move in the Big 12 and show that we're not the average or the middle of the pack, we got to go ahead and take care of business.
Alex, for the most part, we gotta seal the deal. I mean, sealing the deal is actually going out to Kansas Manhattan, Kansas, guys, I know in Manhattan, I went to a little small JUCO out there. Ain't nothing out there but footballs and cows. You know, footballs and cows out there.
They got some basketballs at the other.
They do.
Alex, what is it going to take for us to go there and bring home a win? It's been a long time, as you mentioned.
Yeah, Kansas State's not going to beat themselves. They're going to be very well coached, very disciplined. You know, they're not going to commit a bunch of stupid penalties and a bunch of turnovers. So, you know, we're going to have to go out there and take it to them and beat them. I think we're a better team than they are, but you know, they almost beat Baylor. They gave Baylor everything they wanted. They've given several of the bigger teams everything they wanted, with the exception of Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma really stomped them. So, you know, they're going to be a good team. They're going to be probably similar competition level and talent level that we have, so it's going to be a good matchup. But I think we're going to have to be able to go out there, run the ball, not turn it over, not have stupid penalties, play sound football, play assignment football on defense. You know, don't let them break off any big plays. They run their quarterback a lot. They run that little play where they run the quarterback up to the line like he's going to run and dump it over to the tight end. You're going to have to defend that. So
run the game a little bit.
Yeah, they present somewhat of a mirror image in terms of the type of offense with the way we're using Skylar Howard now to prevent a more diverse threat in the running game. So, yeah, it should be a good matchup. They are what, 5-6?
Yes,
so
5-6.
They're playing for that six win, which sounds a whole hell of a lot better than 5-7. I guess they still got a shot at getting into a bowl.
Yes, sir.
At 5-7, but 6-6 is really
you're in.
Something to play for. You're not a loser.
That's right.
At 6-6 at the end of the regular season. So I think they're going to be motivated for us.
You know, one thing we got to watch out.
I'm going to throw this at you for a second, because I think some people seem to forget what a good ball player JT was. And JT Thomas, I want you to share some light on Snyder. Because you know this man, he recruited you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So won't you share? I mean,
you know, I was very close to going to Kansas State. And in fact, I went to JUCO in Southeast Kansas. That's all they talk about is Big 8 football. Back then it was Big 8 football. So I was recruited by Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Kansas State. So I remember going to Kansas State, and Coach Snyder's just a great guy. I mean, I'm gonna just tell you like it is. He's a good guy, you know what I mean? And he makes you feel welcome. I remember going there and seeing my name. And I don't know if they were doing this a lot back in 1990s, where you go in and they would have your name on the jersey. At the very least, that was the first time I saw it on a recruiting trip. And they almost had me, fellas. I'm telling you now, because my cousin ended up playing receiver for him. I had two cousins. One played running back, one played receiver. Both went to Kansas State, and they both did quite well. But the team in the town itself, they're all about Kansas State football, as well as their basketball team. But Kansas State football, Wildcats, is what they bleed out there. But I have to say, the difference being, I'm going to tell you, the only difference being, West Virginia was going to play on TV 8 times in the state of Florida. So that made my decision quite easy. But we're going to a place that we haven't beaten them in the last 4 years, right? In the last couple of years for sure, right? That's because they know how to play football. We're going to have to go there and really pull out all stops. We can't wait till a bowl game. We're going to have to go out there and defend not only one quarterback, because we see this happen early. Joe Hobart is the starting quarterback, but they have a receiver out there.
Cook?
I think, yeah, that's his name.
Cook.
The kid is a receiver, but he can play quarterback. Joe Hobart got hurt. He pulls him out of the game. The kid Cook comes in and almost win the game for. I think they lost, but the kid comes in there and plays the quarterback.
They run a wildcat.
Right. And he runs it well. So we have to go in there knowing that they're going to pull out all stop. Alex mentioned them doing the old Tebow. The runner approaches the line and dumps the ball over to the jump pass. We're going to have to watch out for all of that. So I'm sure we'll scheme it up. I know Dana and Coach Hibby really want to win this game, and I know our 20 seniors want to take this game. This is one they haven't won. You know, they want to take this game their senior year and bring it home to Morgantown.
People don't realize the history that Bill Snyder and Kansas State have, how many 10 and 11 win seasons and how many major bowls that this team has played in. You know, they've been in the national title conversation just within the last couple years, you know, taking it all the way up into the 12th week of the season in the conversation. So this is a proud program that's used to winning and are not going to lay down for the Mountaineers simply because they haven't had the kind of season they've wanted.
Absolutely. You know what, and also, you know, looking at Kansas State program, it's a rich tradition. I mean, they're excited about their football. But I ride down with my Mountaineers, you know what I mean? And I'm a Mountaineer guy. we have to really show the Big 12 that we belong. And I think one of the things we have to do that is by beating a team like Kansas State, who we have not beaten since we joined the Big 12. So it's going to be a very exciting game. I think it's a lot on stage as far as us going to 8-4, as far as them going to 6-6. So I think it's going to be an exciting game. But before I forget, I want to say to the Mountaineer Nation that one of our young men who did get injured, Stedman Bailey, is doing a lot better. If you already know, a young man got shot down in Miami. He's a wide receiver. When he played here at WVU, he's doing a lot better. I don't know if you were aware of that.
Yeah, we mentioned it last week.
Okay, he's improving, so I'm glad to hear that for that young man. So I just want to let the Mountaineer Nation know that we are praying for that young man, for him to get better. Wishing him a speedy recovery.
Absolutely, absolutely. Guys, one thing that I feel real good about it, and I think you tapped on it, Alex, when you mentioned, I guess you was concerned about Coach Hoganson losing the locker room. He seemed to have done a good job of really just rallying his troops. I haven't seen this in a long time. I mean, we haven't lost 4 games in a row in a long time. But to see him rally the troops like he's been doing
2 years ago, we did.
It wasn't that long ago.
But we're doing quite well. I mean, he is managing this thing very well, and the rapport that he has with his quarterback, I'm starting to see they have a relationship where next year I see them doing bigger and better things because the relationship is so much better. And if he sticks around and things work out like we suspect it should, I look forward to us finishing well. And you said early on, he's open to running the football. How many yards we had? Nearly 400 yards rushing this total offense. What you said we passed the ball less than 20 times.
We were completed less than 20. It was 12 for 26, and he misfired on a few, and he had a couple balls that were dropped. So that's not all on Skylar Howard, but I think throughout the course of the season, it's been proven that we can't put everything on Skylar Howard's shoulders, that we have to run the ball, and he can throw the deep ball pretty well, but we've got a young wide receiving crew that they're going to get better. They're going to be better next year in the passing game. I'll guarantee that.
I agree.
But we can't put all that pressure. We're going to have to be able to run the ball against this Kansas State team in order to be able to win this ball game.
And that's what scares me a little bit, Alex, because they play the run very well. They do. Again, we're talking about a team that's a very sound, disciplined team. You're not going to fool them. They're going to be home. They're going to read their keys. But again, it goes back to what you and I talked about early in the year, smash mouth football. We're going to have to play ball. We're going to have to run at them. That left side of the line, when we was making money off of, wasn't really there against Iowa State. And I've listened to Hoganson post-game show, and I think Panky was hurt.
Panky's been out.
Panky was out. So, Big Panky, we got to get you back in there, brother.
Yeah.
We got to get you back in there.
He's our
man.
best run blocker,
Absolutely.
I think.
He's the guy. So I heard he's supposed to be back, which we would definitely need. I was in a barber shop. And he's like, why I'm in a barber shop? Because I ain't got no hair. But I got boys. And I took my sons in there to get the haircut. And there's a young, handsome man in there getting his haircut. His name is Russell Shell. And my boys get a chance to see him, and because he's a nice young man. And I said, we're going to the game. How you guys looking? He's like, Coach, I think we're going to be all right. It wasn't an arrogance, but it was a confidence. You know what I mean? First of all, I was shocked how small he was. I think he's a bigger guy than what he is. But but the confidence he has, and he got the coolest hair. That's my boys love him. Keep his hair in a nice style. But he comes to play on Saturday, JT.
Yeah.
He comes to play on Saturday, and Smallwood comes to play on Saturday. And I remember sitting next to Alex when I first got on here. I was like, Alex, I don't like the little running backs. I don't like the run. I want the big power backs that me and Alex played for. And even Adrian Morrell wasn't a big power back, but he was bigger than these guys. So it's good to see these guys, and they got a healthy relationship. They spin off each other. So our running game wasn't there against Iowa State. If we can bring that running game back to down in Kansas State, we'll be all right.
All right.
We'll be
and
all right.
with that, we will be all right because we're going to go to another trivia question.
Okay.
I want to remind our guests, we're here every Wednesday from 6 to 7. We're down here at Saberton Station. If we don't catch us here, make sure you go check us out at thedpost.com. That is thedpost.com.
You have a question?
Guys, I got a question for you. Hopefully you guys have been paying attention. We've been talking about Kansas State a lot. All you have to do is raise your hand. We'll get the mic over to you. All I need to know is, what is the name of the head coach of the Kansas State Wildcats? All you got to do is raise your hand. All you have to do is raise your hand. Oh, you have to pay attention to Kansas State Wildcats.
I know we said his name a couple
We talked
times.
about him being such a great coach. Ah, there we go. I knew it was on
Bill
the
Snyder.
Who?
Bill Snyder.
Bill
Bill
Snyder.
Snyder.
Bill
You are
Snyder. I thought he
absolutely
said Dave
right.
Snyder.
There you go. There you go. I know it's only a matter of time. All right.
How old is he?
Oh.
He's 76 years old. I can't imagine being
76 years old.
able to relate to
Young
17,
kids, yeah.
18,
Sure,
19-year-old kids from all different diverse kinds of backgrounds.
That's
but
right.
he's been able to do it for,
Long time.
30-some years now, however many, 40-some years. He built that Kansas State program from the scratch, really the ground up, they say, and he's really
Literally, because of you.
one of the legends in this
Yeah.
game.
You know
The stadium is called Bill Snyder Stadium.
Okay.
You know?
And going back to what Alex said,
Bill Snyder Family Stadium, actually.
it says something about a man like that who could stay around that long in this game where it's always changing. For him to be able to deal with these young men, because it's a different game since we all play. It's a me type of game. These guys, they're not going to stay very
Let you
long.
throw the pass.
You throw it to them. They're not going to stay very long. These guys.
Oh,
he dropped.
He didn't
He
get the old.
Well, he's a tight end, so he don't
You
throw
can't
it
blame
back.
that on the pass at that time.
Had a little wobble.
A little wobble to it. Oh, you waiting on me? Oh, okay.
But
All
again,
right.
it says a lot about Bill Snyder, man, and we'll probably talk about him all day. But another guy that's very good at older coach that coaches young guys is Beamer, and we got to say we played our big rival, West Virginia Tech, and he's
hanging
just
out.
stepping down.
Yeah.
So Frankie Beamer, take care of yourself, man. I remember those games. Great coach, gentleman of the game. We're gonna miss you. We're gonna miss guys like that. That's what makes college football. That and rivalries.
I don't think
Coaches
we're
like
going
that.
to see those kind of tenures in the coaching ranks anymore because the coaches are making so much money and the fans and the boosters
Expectations are so
become
great.
so impatient that you win 9 games and get canned like Mark Richt. That guy's
That's crazy.
He's won 9-10 games
crazy.
every year for the last 10.
And he was
however
there
many
for
he's
15
been
years.
there.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was there for 15 years. And he
Yeah.
went 9-3 and they let him go.
9-3 gets you fired, and 5-7 you can still get into a bowl game. So times have changed.
Wow.
Times have changed.
Wow.
Hey guys, certainly I just want to remind everybody, I'd be remiss if I didn't say this to you. I should talk about you having the opportunity to win money every week. Every week, all you have to do is go to thedeeppost.com, and there's a little button that says In the Huddle. Click on that, and there's a little banner that says Win $100 Visa gift card by submitting a comment on our YouTube channel. Guys, we've been giving away this $100 gift card every week. All you got to do is go make a comment, talk about it, share it with your friends, because we're going to be here every week. On Wednesday.
Are we eligible? Can I make a comment?
Yeah, there we go.
I asked him that
Somebody
last
asked the
time.
Yankees
Yeah,
last
I asked him
time.
that last time.
Hey, they said we're getting paid too much. hey guys, listen, it's just an outstanding opportunity. We have fun chopping up as former players, giving it to you from our perspective. Again, we're talking about it. We have no reservations. We have no restraints. Alex comes down here and gives it to you week in and week out. Oftentimes I talk about the linebackers because I want to see linebackers go in and play physical football. Speaking of those linebackers, like I said, Alex, I thought they did an excellent job. Overall, defense did an outstanding job. I have to give this overall experience probably a B+. I would say the effort all the way around would be a B+, because we played well on all 3 sides of the ball. I think the guys played as a unit. And that was more impressive than anything for me. They seemed to have played together. They played as a senior class going out, winning in front of their home crowd.
Yeah, and this was a big game for the senior class. Obviously, the last home game's always important. And these guys were Holgerson's first
Class.
guys to come all the way through the program for him. So this is truly Holgerson's team now moving forward. But out of those 20 seniors, you had a lot of guys that played a lot of football for us. Some of them probably earlier than what they were ready, given the situation they stepped into in 2012 or so. But hats off to this senior class to turning it around this year when they probably could have thrown in the towel and tanked the rest of the season. And hats off to Holgerson. I'm not going to extend him a contract extension just yet. I'm waiting to see how these last 2 games shake out. I think this team needs to finish, and I'll be willing to call it a successful season if we can go out and beat Kansas State and win a bowl game.
Absolutely.
Anytime you win 9 games in this league, there aren't any cupcakes. It isn't Cincinnati and Rutgers being your big games anymore. They're
Right.
in South Florida. Those were the big games in the Big East.
Sure.
You're playing with the top of the teams in the nation.
Right.
Week in, week out. When you play the upper half of the Big 12 and the lower half of the Big 12, you still have teams like Kansas State and Texas Tech that have great tradition and great history and great athletes. So it'll be nice to see if this team can go out and finish. I know we're 5.5-point favorites on the betting line. I thought that says a little bit, but it'll be interesting to see if we can go out and finish this game off, finish this regular season off with a win.
It's just so telling, and people just don't realize what it feels like as an underclassman, and you know your seniors are going out for the last time, preparing to play in front of its home crowd. You want to win that ball game. You typically strain a little harder, and I can tell you, I guarantee you, Skylar Howard did his very best to send this team out. As I mentioned early on, I knew that Iowa State would come in here and fight tooth and nail to try to send their coach out on the right track. But our guys wanted it just a little bit more. We did it in front of 42,000 here at Mountaineer, Milan Puskar Stadium. So it wasn't about who was in the stands. It was about the 11 to 22, 25 players on the field who were out there battling for each other. It was a great thing to watch. I had the great opportunity to be on the sideline and to watch the guys and their camaraderie. There was just a bunch of guys, Tone, that I felt that really was living and breathing Mountaineer football. From the beginning to the very end, from the time those seniors walked on that field and met their parents at the 50-yard line to the time they all went and sang Country Roads over to a student section, then over to their parents. I just thought overall it was a great Mountaineer experience.
Well, I'll tell you what, one of the things I noticed that if this Mountaineer team go ahead and win on Saturday, which I feel that they're going to do, they have the chance to have one of the best records in the Big 12 under Coach Hogerson, which I think is outstanding. Going back to what you said as far as enthusiasm, I didn't see it early in the year, but I did see it a lot the last couple of games. And I think that's outstanding. And one way I gauge enthusiasm is swarming to the ball. And I've seen these blue jerseys all over the place. And I think that's very special. Because, with defense, and one thing we talked about last time is effort. Effort is not based on talent. Effort is based on you just want to get there. And I seen that on Saturday. Guys wanted to get there, guys pulling for the money. See, football is a lot different than a lot of other sports. It's the ultimate team game. Basketball, you get a lot of me time and things of that nature. But as far as football, you're fighting for your brother, you're fighting for your team. In senior year, or your senior game, last time playing in Mountaineer Stadium, those guys to me laid down the line. They beat a team that they're supposed to beat, and they beat them convincingly. And that's what you're supposed to do to a team that's not supposed to match up with you.
Hey, Tony, it was just, I want to share, and hopefully I get this right. There's a scene from 300, and they talked about it, and it kind of goes toward what you were saying about being able to shield your brother.
That's right.
And there was a young man, a fighter in the film who could do all the things that others can do. He was good at jabbing. He was good at blocking his front. His only deficiency was he wasn't able to guard his brother.
Right, his brother's brother.
He could not shield his brother. And as Tone just mentioned, in football, you have to have that mentality that you're only as strong as your weakest link. And every guy has to go on there on that field of battle, because that's what we call it, a field of battle, and go out there and win each war.
Absolutely.
Because every man has his own war. That's why, again, that's one thing about this game that we purport to love, right? We're here because we like the game. We had a great experience, and we want to try to articulate to you fans while we talk about the Mountaineers doing ups, downs, and what have you. We're always going to give it to you like we see it. Again, the Mountaineers did great. Hopefully they finish well. Hopefully we keep the fans satisfied, and more so keep themselves satisfied, because as a team, as you know, Alex, you want to feel good about yourself when you're walking off that field.
Yeah, that last regular season game, and we've had the last home game, but this is the last regular season game for those 20 seniors, and I think back, we finished on the road my senior year, 1991, up at Syracuse against a top 10 or top 12 Syracuse team, and we led the game at one point, and we're in the game, got the ball back in the fourth quarter with a couple minutes left, drove down the field. Adrian Morrell had a long run. I caught like a 30-yard pass over the middle, got down about the 20-yard line, and Darren Studstill threw an interception at the end of that game. Syracuse picked it off, a really good Syracuse team, and we lost. And I just remember having that sick feeling in my stomach that we ended on a loss, and we were 6-5 that year, kind of a disappointing season. How much better, how much sweeter it would be to be able to walk off of the field. Hopefully these seniors want to taste the sweetness of that victory the last time they're going to step on the field in the regular season and be able to finish it off with a win.
And and Alex made a good point too. But one thing too, I think you want to factor in is that you don't want it to boil down to one game as far as your whole Mountaineer experience. You know what I mean? Because as you get older, like we are getting, you go back and you don't want to say, well, what I did on my last game. You want to enjoy the whole experience because it takes a certain athlete to get a scholarship to play football anyway. And you should always treasure that because everybody wants to play. And when you're growing up and you're playing Little League and the coaches will say, football is like a pyramid. Everyone starts off at the pyramid, we're at the base of it. But then as you move up, that pyramid goes up and it's harder and harder to make that cut. So, enjoy the experience. As I tell my boys I coach and my sons who's playing Division I, enjoy it. Because I'm going to tell you, it goes very fast. And then you'll be sitting like me commentating about football because you can't play no more because you're too old and nobody wants you.
You said getting old. We
I ain't going to say what age I am, but I look good for my age. But them days are over. But as Alex was saying, the experience playing a Mountaineer Mountaineer football is unbelievable. And I'm happy for these boys. I'm glad they turned their season around. I'm rooting for them every Saturday. Now, I might get on them. There's no question. Just like I get on my sons. But they know I care about them. They know I love them. And good luck on Saturday. Let's bring this thing home.
Guys, it is that time. Let me just state this quickly. We're here because we want to ask your questions. Oftentimes, people see us at the water cooler or in the bathroom or in the hall, and they ask us, what do we think about Mountaineer football? Well, we like to thank the Dominion Post for giving us this opportunity to come before you and share our opinions and our thoughts about the team that we know a lot about. We really feel like we have Mountaineer blue and gold in our blood. So with that being said, I want to extend to you this opportunity to ask us questions that we'll answer to the best of our ability. So we can get you the, just raise your hand and we will get you the mic and we'll answer your question to the best of our ability.
Any questions?
Any questions? All righty.
I'm glad you got that one.
Do you think that this offensive performance was better with us being balanced?
Balance.
Yeah, that's the key, I think, to being able to keep Skylar Howard upright and healthy and to be successful in this offense is that we can have some balance and be able to run the ball. Okay. I'd like to see a little more out of the passing game, but we're limited with Skylar Howard right now. We're limited with having some young wide receivers, so we're going to have to rely on that running game. But we're going to have to be able to do enough in the passing game in order to. They can't put. Kansas State will put 9 people in the box if we can't throw the ball a little bit. So, this past several games we've been heavy, dominant on the running game, but I think we're going to have to be able to pass the ball a little bit. We're going to have to complete more than 12 passes in order to beat Kansas State.
Looking at balance too, and me and Alex was talking prior to coming on board here, is that we got to get some intermediate passes going. To us, we're just living off this deep ball. It's like trying to hit Shelton. How many times we threw it to him? At least target him at least 12, maybe 10 times. We got to get Shorts involved in the game. We got to get a little Squeaky Thompson involved in the games. I think one thing, and to go back to Skylar Howard, I don't think he's going to beat you throwing the ball. And I think teams are going to put on to that. So, we can run it, but he's going to have to be able to throw it consistently if we're going to beat a Kansas State and if we're going to beat whoever we play in the bowl game. He has to be able to hit those short intermediate passes because the deep throw downfield, sometimes sometimes he make it, sometimes he don't. But we can't live and die on that.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to see this game here because if I'm Bill Snyder, I got a funny feeling what he's going to do. He's going to say, you know what? They're not going to beat me running the ball.
Right.
We're going to load the box up, and we're going to take away that deep ball. Make him throw the ball, intermediate passes, to see if he can beat us.
It could be ugly conditions out there too. I didn't check the weather report
Yeah,
yet,
what
but
you got out there?
Kansas, it's windy and
What is it like? You
Cold,
out there,
it
it's
could be
cold
cold,
out
it could
there,
be
right?
snow, it could be all sorts of things out there in Kansas. But sir, I just want to say that was a great question because that's what it really comes down to, right? You got to have balance. Early on, we talked about early on in the shows, we kept hearing this air raid. Now we're starting to come to reality and utilize what we have,
That's right.
and that's a run game. But yet with that, you can believe me that teams now know we have two weapons in the run game and that they're going to try to load the box and try to stop our run game. And then that's when that balance will actually come into play where we're going to have to be sound on all three sides of the ball. Now, oftentimes, I'm a big proponent of that boot play. But since I'm telling you, Kansas has been seeing that for so long, they may need to hold off on my boot and waggle this week.
Because he's a waggle kind of guy. He loves that waggle.
I love the boot and waggle, but this week, me knowing Kansas State, they played in the Big Eight. Big Eight used to see a lot of option, a lot of boot and waggle and all that stuff. We may need to hold off on that. I want to see Skylar make it through this game without having a lot of bumps and bruises. So, sir, you have an excellent question. Balance is the key. I'm looking forward to the Mountaineers coming out with a balanced formation, playing Mountaineer football and bringing home a victory. Thank you so much for your questions. Do we have any more questions? We got another question? Raise your hand. Yes.
How important is it, whether we win or lose on Saturday, when we're being chosen for a bowl game? How important is that to win or lose?
Okay. Well, I tell you, man, that's a very good question, and it's about a lot of money. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Is about money. You know what? One thing that works out well for West Virginia is that they travel. Excuse me, they travel. West Virginia fans travel, so that's definitely a feather in our cap. The more wins that you have, the more enticing that these bowl teams want you. So it's very important for us to win, no question about it. And then when you look at seeding as far as the Big 12 is, you get your money based on where you finished at in the Big 12. And that was one of the reasons why we came here. I believe at one time they showed the money of if you finish second in the Big East, and if you finish fourth in the Big 12, you made more money in the Big 12. That just showed you the type of money that is in the Big 12. So let's call it what it is. It's all about dollars. And that's why we don't have the rivals that we have anymore. It's about the money. So this game is a money game. Yeah, can you just win this, lose this game and be like, okay, well, we got to win this season with 75 and go to a bowl game. Better your record, the better the bowl, the more your position is in the Big 12, the more money.
I think we're pretty much locked in there. I mean, that's almost always the case, but the way it's set up right now, the top four teams, Oklahoma hopefully is going to be in the playoff. Baylor's got a good shot at getting in the Sugar Bowl, and then I think that leaves with Oklahoma State or TCU will probably go to that Alamo Bowl, and then the Russell Athletic Bowl is the next one down the line.
And you see how we dropping that.
The Florida Bowl, and I haven't mentioned us yet, so that's going to be between Oklahoma State and TCU. So after that, I don't know that whether we win or lose is going to make a big difference because the Liberty Bowl is probably not going to want us again. So I'm hearing we're probably going to go to one of those bowls out in Texas. I think they call it the Texas Bowl.
We can't get out of Texas, huh?
Cactus Bowl. I don't know. I'd like to go to Florida because we recruit down there so much, and it's important to play in front of the Florida teams. But you want to win this game because you want to win the game and finish on a good note and have some momentum going into the bowl game. But I'm not sure that it's going to change the ultimate outcome of where we're going to go.
Very good point.
And
Bowl-wise.
Alex mentioned, for the most part, it's money, it's all those things. But for those players, those guys want to send those seniors out. And I'm just not talking about the seniors. The guys who are playing with them, they want to send them guys out on a winning note. That's extremely important to them. Extremely important to them. They don't go into this game lightly, and they don't even think twice about we're automatically in a bowl game. They want to go in. And the thing about this football thing, I'm telling you, we get it in the bone where we do not accept second place. We do not accept a lesser bowl. We want to win. We want to be in the best bracket we can possibly be in. We want to be on the biggest stage that we can possibly be on. We want to be the pride of West Virginia. We want to go out there and make our state proud. And I guarantee you, every guy on that football team, every former player will be watching the Mountaineers compete against anybody they put on the field this upcoming game, as well as any potential bowl game that we have.
Looks like it's probably going to be a Pac-12 team too.
Pac-12.
Pac-12.
Say maybe like a Cal or Arizona State.
Oh yeah.
They mentioned those teams for that Cactus Bowl, I think. So
That'll
it'd be a different matchup, one we haven't had.
Different look for us for sure.
Different opponent.
And also in the state here in West Virginia, this Saturday is the championship series. We got high school football at Wheeling Island, 1 and 2A and 3A football. So high school football guys, good luck. I think the big game is Wheeling versus Capital up at Wheeling Park. So good luck Wheeling Park and Capital, because the quarterback Pratt's supposed to be coming here.
Yeah.
So don't get hurt in that game, son. Business decision.
All right, we got any more questions? Any more questions? All right, with that, we certainly want to thank you all for coming out. I want to certainly thank my guests, and I want to say to you all, until next time, huddle up. Thank you.
All right.
Good job, guys.